Hey everybody, good on Wednesday morning, top of the morning to you. Eddie William Sellers, sitting inside this morning. We had storms all during the night last night, and it's so wet outside. And I've been trying to work on my deck and kind of get it fixed up here the last few days. It's just too hot. But anyhow, everybody, top of the morning to you. Hope you're doing okay. Good morning. Hope you're in good health. Namaste, which is whatever's good in me, just kind of connects with whatever's good in you. But anyhow, let's do the morning post. It's been a strange July weather-wise, hasn't it? All this global warming, climate change, all this stuff going on every year. Y'all, I'm telling you, after living 70 years on Earth, the weather is different than it was when I was 50 years ago when I was 20. It just seems so weird to say stuff like that now, like talking in years and decades and all like that. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? 50 years ago when I was 20. I'm telling y'all, though, the weather, there's something that has shifted, at least in this region of the world. Atlanta's become like North Florida, and the summers like this July, my God, the heat warnings for your health. And anyhow, tangents. It's been a strange July weather-wise. The raging storm woke me up last night, I guess around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, which is rare for me because, like Jesus, I usually just sleep through storms. The lightning was lighting up the bedroom just like fireworks was going off. Wind hitting against the windows and rain. Thunder, all kind of thunder rolling. I got up one time and let the top window down and looked out, and then once I'm awake, it's hard for me to just go back to sleep, especially when I do what you shouldn't do. I usually take my phone and start checking Facebook, and then I'll look at a couple little TikTok videos, and then I'll put it on TikTok Live and lay there and listen to somebody. Who was I listening to last night? Somebody that was selling something, but anyway. So anyhow, there's that. I like laying on my side of the bed where I have these two big windows, and I don't close them up at night and have them open, and I can lay in my bed and look up into the heavens, and I can see stars while I'm laying in my bed, the way the bedroom's set up. And I just feel like I'm part of the bigger universe out there, that I'm part of Mars and the moon and the stars and stargazing, I guess that's what you call it. But I love that about my bed. I am a sun person. They say there are two kinds of people in the world, sun people and cave people. Cave people always have their windows covered over. Not only they'll have blinds up, and then they'll have blackout drapes over the blinds and keep their front doors covered. And, the cave people. My Aunt Annie Ruth was like that. Go in their house just dark and gloomy. I've often wondered, why even have windows? Look at your neighbors across the street. Why even have windows? And years go by, people won't open their windows. I mean, that's them. That's who they're cave people. To me, I'd live in a greenhouse if I could. I'd have a glass ceiling in my bedroom. That's why even when I bought the little house on the corner of Dobbs over off Moreland years ago, I went and bought this huge, big 3-foot by 6-foot skylight and put it in a little back room, just so when it's raining, I could sit back there in a back room and just kind of had all this natural light coming. I love light. Let there be light, people. Quit making the world darker. Make the world lighter. But anyhow, I'm not a cave person. I'm a sun kind of person. I watched the Lindsey Graham funeral service yesterday on CNN, and at the end of his long life, and with all that he accomplished, I could almost hear Peggy Lee singing, "Is that all there is, my friends? Then let's keep dancing." But I guess it is the same way, y'all, when any of us die. There's not going to be a whole big fanfare and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people want grand funerals, with big turnouts. They love long speeches and much fanfare when they pass. More and more people are opting out of all that. Some of the most beautiful and heartfelt remembrances. Sometimes we're just a handful of us gathered at a graveside just to say a few words at the end of somebody's life. My brother James, a graveside service, after I spoke, there were about 50 of us there that afternoon. And the people from the funeral home asked that after I'd got through doing this service and saying a few words and we had all gathered, the people that was there to cover him over and put him in the ground, they asked that we all leave and give them about 30 minutes to get him covered over and then for us to come back. Well, as I stood there, I watched everybody just start walking toward their cars. And I just kept standing there. My Aunt Shirley came over and took me by the arm and said, "Come on, Eddie." And I told her, "Shirley, I can't leave." And I said, "I want to stay here." And then I just burst out crying, uncontrollably, actually. I think it might have unnerved Shirley a little bit. Shirley was my Uncle Aaron's wife. She always loved me so much. We worked together for years. She knew me. She knew I told Shirley things about myself years before I could even admit to myself things about myself. And but she told me, she said, "Well, we'll just stand here. We'll just stand here." And and I told the guys that was doing all that, I said, "I'm just going to stand here. Everybody else is going to leave." And man, I had me just an old-fashioned wailing, just weeping. Everybody's gone, me and Shirley. And I remember telling Shirley, I said, "I remember the first day James started school, and I had to make him get on that bus. And he was just scared to death as a little boy. I said, 'Boy, you better get your butt on that bus and grow up and be a big boy. You're a big boy now. You got to go to school.'" And in between my weeping of trying to get all that out, I told Shirley, I said, "I feel like I'm putting him on the bus again. I want to be here to put him on the bus," as they was putting him in the ground. And and then I just blurted out, I'm like, "Shirley, my brother had a hard life. He struggled with addiction. And, he was killed in a car wreck at 39 years old. I got the call. Thank God my Uncle Aaron was with me that day over in Grant Park when they called and said James had died in a car wreck. And I remember I sat down on my front porch. My Uncle Aaron was at my house with me that day, and I was just stunned. And he loved me too. He always loved me, and he's concerned about me. He said, "Eddie, you want one of my Xanax?" And I'm like, "No." I said, and I remember telling Aaron this. I said, "Aaron, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel that. What is that?" My brother had just died in a car wreck. And it had thrown him from his truck. It was awful. Picked up Mama, take her down to Griffin, Spalding General to look at his body. And for whatever reason, they want us to come and sign papers, look at his body. But anyway, funerals are something, ain't them? As I watched Sean Hannity speak at Lindsay's funeral yesterday, Hannity always seemed creepy to me. He reminds me of an old Southern Baptist preacher filled with lies and deception. His life has darkened America, he and Rush Limbaugh. I can tell you the difference between him and Tucker Carlson. Tucker, he believes what he says. Hannity is a fake. He will say anything to keep the millions coming in. He, like a crooked old preacher, manipulates the feeble-minded. None of John McCain's family were there. That was telling. It is pretty well known that Lindsay had a double life. He was gay, but he sold his soul to have power to stand against people like himself. It is so weird to me for people who do that. But so many Trump supporters do the same thing, who vote against their own interests when they vote for billionaires, as if billionaires is going to be concerned about your little life out there in Cleveland, Georgia. Good Wednesday morning, sweet people. Today is going to be a good day. I will be glad and enjoy life today. July is strange, wet, hot, and stormy. August is coming around the bend. 10 minutes on the dot. I'm getting good at it, ain't it? Love y'all. See y'all.